So hi, welcome. I'm Frances Goodall. I'm a wellbeing coach and also an author and speaker and co-founder of the Women's Wellness Circle, which is an online community that supports women with chronic health problems. And today I'm excited to introduce you to Vita Revelli. And hi, Vita.
Hello.
So Vita has been a trained acupuncturist for 37 years. Including postdoctorates or postgraduate study in China and going back and forth to China to do more study in Chinese medicine and herbal medicine, and has also been teaching Chinese medicine for over 30 years in many European countries. And Vita now works in Greece and is the founder and director of the AOM, the Art of Oriental Medicine, which I guess is a training school for acupuncture, isn't it? Or...
It's a training school, it's a clinic, it's all sorts of things.
Yeah, wonderful.
And yeah.
Okay, so the first question for you, Vita, is what inspired you to become a Chinese medical doctor?
Okay, I could tell you a big lie, but I won't. So I was living in Italy in the 70s. There was a lot of chaos going on there. Political chaos with university being closed and so on. So I decided to leave Italy with my little child and come over to England and see what was available here in the field of medicine, as you know. So it was conventional medicine I was thinking of. And then when I came here, I found that the words of one of my professors were stuck in my head. He had said, if you treat people, you will never have patience. And it really bugged me, and it really made me think that maybe the aim of medicine was not that of treating people at the end of the day, or not only that, yeah, that there was a lot of other stuff going on there. And so I was sitting here in London and I was looking around and couldn't find anything that I wanted. So I thought, okay, I'll go back to Italy and finish my degree. And in the boat, my son chatted up a man, and we started to talk. And he said to me, well, look, you know, if you might be interested in this, my brother studies acupuncture in Leamington Spa. So why don't you go up there and find out? So I just turned around, came back to England from Amsterdam with my son, the rucksack. I was very young, I was 24 years old. Went off to Leamington Spa. They told me, oh, the class is full. And right that moment, synchronicity, alignment, I don't know what it was, the owner and the main professor came by and he said, what do you want? He took me down, he gave me an interview, and I was in. So that was like, you know, when you think about the field of infinite possibilities, where everything can come out of there. And that's how it happened. No decision, but probably there was something in me that was looking for that without me knowing. And I've been there ever since.
Yeah, great. And do you have your own personal healing story to share? Maybe how Chinese medicine has helped you in any way, or has that been part of what led you to this line of work? Or
well, at the time I went to college, I had no experience of whether Chinese medicine could help me or not for my personal problem, but I also was very young and I had no problems. So I was not looking for healing. I was more looking to heal people around me who had a lot of problems, like starting from my family. You know, my mom having a problem with the heart, my dad with his kidneys, and so on and so forth. So that was the main thing about wanting to study medicine. My experience is that Chinese medicine changed me and healed me in areas where I wasn't aware of problems, just by learning it, just by learning the philosophy, by learning how it works, by learning what we call resonance. I found myself in a better place 3 years later when I finished the course. And this informs my practice till now. I do believe that there is a lot more power in clean energy and you don't necessarily need to have needles, and you don't necessarily need to have herbs. And the old Chinese texts confirm that, but yeah, you need to know Chinese to be able to get access to that information.
And so you learned Chinese as part of your journey, it sounds like.
I
What you
learned
said.
Chinese
Yeah.
as part of my journey, yeah.
Amazing. So can you talk a little bit about the history of Chinese medicine, what it involves, and how it can support the healing from chronic illnesses?
Okay, Chinese medicine was actually created on the way, in a continuous way. So when people say that it's 2,000 years old, they're right. It's very, very ancient, but at the same time, it does not have a continuity. There were many schools. The 100 schools are very famous as in China as being the various schools that contributed to creating Chinese medicine. But each one of them had a core notion of some things, but at the periphery, they were very different. So what they're trying to do now is trying to unify it. And to do that, it's a question of reaching a compromise in the middle and get rid of many other things that don't fit a common view. So basically, the history of Chinese medicine went from the idea that we resonate with the cosmos, and that what happens out there happens within us, and that the body is actually energy, not a body at all, and that energy creates the body, rather than the other way around, whereby we must strive to live in agreement with nature and really study what nature does. So in Chinese medicine, you have a thinking that your body adapts every 14 days to a new phase of nature. So we have the time is broken down in a different way, and it depends on what happens, the subtle changes happening out there. And this is what the Chinese say our lungs do. They help us to adapt through smell and breathing in to what happens outside. Later on, when China started to open to the West, the idea of the open body started to become redundant. And they got more and more into an idea of a closed body. There is a lot of literature that can witness to this, but right now I can't give it to you. It's a long stuff. It's mainly anthropological stuff. And so when the body became a closed body, then the body started to generate energy as body, right? Rather than taking energy from the cosmos, rather than resonating with the cosmos. And that brought a lot of problems, like I need to fix my liver to be able to create energy, right? So the shift was very, very big. Now, when we talk about real patients, because otherwise we're not talking medicine, the difference between the two approaches is that one makes you see yourself as part of a whole, and then it invites you to plug into that whole and find a lot of your healing also there. And the second approach, that of the closed body, relies on your own resources to create the healing. And sometimes that's not possible because your resources are very, very low already. So you cannot generate electricity without going to the place where the power starts. Right? So the ancients were saying, go back to origin, and that's where health is.
And how would you say that Chinese medicine supports you in accessing support from outside the body to heal?
Well, because if you think that the body is an energetic field by itself, then the body is actually an intermediary between the world at large and whatever happens inside, whatever happens with you. And you're a lot more than just the body. You are emotions, your thoughts, you are spirit, maybe spiritual part of you. Therefore, you cannot, if you say that the body produces everything, then you have to explain to me how the body produces emotions, how the body produces your desire to connect with a divine, whatever you think about that. Yeah, call it nature, call it God, call it source, call it universe, and how that body creates the thoughts. It It's not a closed system.
Right.
It's a permeable system, and we keep on, and we need to stay aware of that.
Yes. Well, everything you're saying kind of reminds me of what helped me to heal eventually from chronic fatigue syndrome, and it was quite a spiritual journey for me in the end, about finding out more about who I am and my connection to everything. And so do you have anything specific to say to women or men? Some men might be watching as well, but about healing specifically from illnesses like chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia with Chinese medicine, how Chinese medicine can support? I mean, I know for me, like towards the end of my healing journey, it definitely helped me, and it helped me if I did to get my health back again. And I still use it today sometimes. Like acupuncture, just really feels like it helps me through like any PMS symptoms I might get, that sort of thing. But what's your experience or knowledge around chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia?
Well, I work a lot with women with fibromyalgia. I don't work enough with women with chronic fatigue syndrome because where I live in Greece, right? Most of my time, not always, but most of it. And there I practice most of my time as well. And it sounds like chronic fatigue syndrome is not that well known. And probably one of the problems is that it's not diagnosed. Yeah, there is a little bit of ignorance about accepting that could be a disease. So I don't get women coming for that, not many. But with fibromyalgia is another story. I have quite a few patients who come in with that problem. And the way I work with them is to, first of all, to take an all intake. So I ask them about not only about fibromyalgia and when it started, but also what happened to them when it started first. So what were the circumstances that they were living through at the time they realized that they had the first symptoms. And I would do the same with chronic fatigue syndrome, actually. We do the same with everything. So I would ask them also about other symptoms, because what in ancient Chinese medicine we were doing, what they were doing was to have a picture of the whole system of the person and then come up with an answer. So in other words, fibromyalgia should not mean anything to a Chinese doctor. What means something is the entourage, what's around it. So you can find, for instance, women who have fibromyalgia and also clots in the period blood, or they have headaches. You can meet women with fibromyalgia who have digestive problems. Yes, some of them may have a white tongue, some of them may have a red tongue, some of them can sleep through the night, some others don't. Some of them may feel cold and they may not want to drink. Others may feel hot and may want to drink. All these other things on top of the fibromyalgia tell me what is the energetic reason for it. So if I find that a woman who has a lot of heat, abnormal heat symptoms like flushing or being thirsty or drinking very often, sipping, then I would make a certain kind of diagnosis and treat her accordingly. So I would not treat fibromyalgia, but I would treat the environment in which it grows. By treating the environment in which it grows, I'm more likely to touch the origin of it.
Okay.
Yes? And so I'm very, very skeptical about the modern way in which Chinese medicine is evolving under the pressure of Western medicine. Because if we do alternative medicine, then we have to do alternative medicine and not bend our head down to the Western discourse, right? Which is treat fibromyalgia or treat headache or treat stomachache with this set of points if they use acupuncture. But that is not designed to treat the person, it's treating the disease. So we go back to a total Western medicine kind of thinking, right? So a proper acupuncture works this way. And so I don't know, maybe you can give me a case and I could tell you what I could do in that specific case that could make maybe
we'll come to that in a moment when we come on to the Q&A bit with the other women. Yeah, and you talked about getting to the origin of it through treating the sort of maybe the whole person. What would you mean? Maybe you've got something to say about sort of what the origin of illness is, what sort of beliefs, lifestyle, emotions, traumas, that kind of thing can really be at the root of chronic illness, and how Chinese medicine can help with that a bit more. That'd be
great. The Chinese used to say that all diseases start from the heart.
Yeah.
Now, what is interesting is that the heart for the Chinese is both thoughts and emotions. So what you think, you feel, and what you feel, you end up thinking. So if you were scared as a child because something happened to you, and you have this innate feeling of fear, then your thinking will be characterized also by thoughts of fear, of, oh, I don't want to do that, I'm scared of doing that, or this could happen to me, or but if you have thoughts of fear that are inculcated through education, for instance, then you end up having fear in your heart. So for them was one thing, and that they call the human heart. Okay, so the human heart is at the root of most of the diseases that we have. Now, they also knew that there was a pure heart, and that is the heart that a child comes to the world with, which is untouched by education and the emotions of the environment and the stimulations of the environment. And that heart is open to go in all directions because it's more pure. And then we write on it, and it becomes a human heart with all the problems that it has. So the idea is that we help people to go back to a more primordial state of being and overcome the emotions and the thoughts that they have, right? Many times, for instance, in MS, and I know it's not your field, but many times with MS patients, you have a shock that happens to them before the onset of the disease. I have, with all my fibromyalgia patients and chronic disease patients, if you have had, I used to have lots in England with ME.
Yeah, I mean, chronic fatigue, same thing, yeah.
But ever since then, it's been 20 years that I've not been here.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I normally do is that I really ask a lot about the heart and listen to the voice, because sometimes people say things that sound good. The words are nice words, but the sound of the voice behind may be grieving, maybe angry, maybe. So you can detect emotions coming out of the Chinese side through the cracks of your personality. You try to have them, but they come. And the whole idea is to help them sort in the heart. So that's one thing. Then lifestyle, because we live with nature, you see that lots of people with chronic fatigue, for instance, they live completely out of nature. I had a patient in London who was a writer, and she came to me and said, I'm here because I want you to help me to not to be tired, not to need to go to sleep, because I need to finish my book in 6 months. And I said, I can't do that. It's against nature. Yes. So the classic talk a lot about, in winter, going to bed when the dark starts and getting up when daylight starts, and what emotions to control and not give way to, what thoughts to cultivate, having in mind. So I tell patients, let's do that. Now, it would sound as though cultivating the heart is the most difficult thing, but they normally are much more keen to do that than to go to bed early, especially in Greece, where life starts at 10 o'clock at night. So if you tell a chronic fatigue patient, you should be in bed at 9, I'm actually, it's not an example that it's real, but they would say no. There is a big resistance in the part of the world where I live to rest. People don't want to rest. Yes, so in their mind, also, if you have patients, a lot of the times, is how they judge themselves. I should be able to do that, but I can't do it. That causes a lot of the illness and reinforces the illness.
Absolutely. Yeah, there can be lots of lots of thoughts and emotions and everything that can contribute to the symptoms. And I know I talk a lot about in my work about the power of sort of allowing our emotions to flow in order to heal from illness. And it was definitely a massive part of my journey, was to realize that I was angry and to realize the grief that I was holding in me and all that. So yeah.
Yes. And you know, of course, for patients it's not pleasant. You know, a lot of patients don't like to look at their pain, so they like to put on a cheerful face. And but that cheerful face sometimes is what makes us sick. As you say, you have to look at them.
Yes, if it's denying aspects of your wholeness and your true experience, your authentic experience.
Yeah.
So we're coming towards the end of the interview time now, and just wondered if you could speak a little bit to the power of meditation and maybe the Chinese approach to meditation, or the Chinese medical approach to meditation.
It will be a bit of a revolution for you maybe to this, but what they really appreciate, you know, that there are many things the Chinese do, like Qigong and Tai Chi, and a lot of that is movement. So the first thing that strikes people is that they meditate whilst they move, and they meditate with the body in action. And that has to do with self-observation. So the meditation is not so much finding a silent space and sitting there, but rather an activity of looking at yourself as you are, watching yourself as you live. So it's not about making your mind silent, but about making a mind capable to see where you are at that moment. Okay. So what I do with my patients, I just tell them, just be silent now and breathe wherever you like, because in Taoism you can breathe up in the middle of it or down in your belly. It doesn't actually matter. Just breathe and feel where you are right now. Look at it. So let's do it.
Yeah, lovely.
So let's breathe in. Close your eyes so that you can look at the tip of your nose. Just the tip of your nose. Breathe in and out. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. And now just let yourself observe what's happening to you, to your body, to your mind, to your emotions. Breathe with all of your body. Feel the air coming in to the pores on the skin as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, feel it going out of the pores of the skin. Just continue this in silence for a few seconds. Just feel yourself. Don't correct anything. Just watch it. See what happens. Give everything permission to be there. Thoughts, just energy. Just watch them. Emotions, they're phenomena. Just let them be. And now slowly, slowly, breathe in again. Be aware of the connection you have with the world around you through your breathing. Take in. Take in the day, the sky, the clouds, the sounds, the fragrances. And let out what is no longer needed. As you breathe out. We do this 3 times and then we open our eyes.
Thank you, that was lovely.
Are women awake?
We'll come to them. So yeah, no, that was great. Thank you. So we're just going to come to the end of the interview piece. Just is there anything you'd like to share with anyone who's watching today about your work, or any way that they can access you or your students, or anything that you want to share in that regard?
Well, you can always find me at in my website, which is tcm/edu.org.
Again, I can put a link to that below. And
you can do that.
Yeah.
I'm just about to start an online course, which will last 3 years for people who want to graduate in Chinese medicine in English.
Wow, you're starting it now. Amazing.
Lots of this stuff inside. The first year can be also for patients, because as I said, through my experience, I learned that through learning, I treated myself. So I feel that knowing is what's going to save us from mistakes of evaluation, for instance. The other thing that I want to say is that basically we need to connect with ourselves and connect with the outside world all the time. We go outside to take inside, nourish yourself, and go out again and take. So if we cannot move, if we're chronically sick, we cannot do the reaching out so easily. I've had chronic fatigue.
Oh, you have chronic fatigue?
Not now.
Oh, I didn't know that you had it. We didn't even get to that. Okay. You said that at the end. Oh, wow.
I did. And I had a bounce just now, before 2 months. But I keep, I know, and I keep, but I know that when I'm like that, they're reaching out, not in the sense of work, but they're reaching out in the sense of appreciation and gratitude to the world in which I am, is always making a big difference. Yeah. Whereas if I that allows me to bring in the beauty of the world and let it nourish me. But if I get into I can't, then I can even less. So I feel, and this is why I'm doing this course for a year for patients as well. So I'll give you the links for the online as well.
Great, yeah, I'll put the links below. Yeah.
No questions?
Well, we'll come to that in a second. So just briefly to just...
I was really looking forward to it.
yeah, we'll come to that. So just briefly for those listening online, so I'm Frances Goodall from Women's Wellness Circle, and the website there is womenswellnesscircle.com, and I've just been speaking to Vita Revelli, and I'll put a link to her website below as well. So thank you for listening today.